Yes, he's done all of us wrong. Now we long for yesterday. All our troubles seem so far away. Now Obama thinks he's here to stay. Oh, we believe in yesterday.
To America, where is the greatness that she knew? How could it be that a land so free could be shackled by a selfish few? The Lady Justice is weeping, the torch of freedom grows dim. Who will lift up America and help her to be great again? Let's take America back. They've had her much too long. Let's put her on the right track and give her back her song. The song of faith and freedom, the song of victory. The song our founding fathers sang when they fought to make us free. We are Americans, God gave us this great land. We are Americans, and here we take our stand. We will not be silent, and we will not be slack. We'll step up to the ballot box and take America back. Let's take America back. They drug her through the mud. Let's make America great by making America good. Let's re-establish justice, ensure tranquility. Let's do the best that we can do to make our nation free. We are Americans, God gave us this great land. We are Americans, and we take our stand. We will not be silent, and we will not be slack. We'll step up to the ballot box and take America back. Let's take America back. They stripped her wealth away. Let's take a stand against tax that free men should not pay. Let's vote for men of courage who'll turn this thing around. Let's take the chains off enterprise and pull the barriers down. Sing, we are Americans, God gave us this great land. We are Americans, and here we can stand. We will not be silent, and we will not be slack. We'll step up to the ballot box and take America back. We'll step up to the ballot box and take America back.
To say that we want our freedom back, we want our country back. I stand not just as a pastor, but as an American, as somebody who is tired of the things that are going on in our nation, and standing up with a voice, God, that says to you, I want back what you gave us from the beginning. that when the people have one mind, when they all speak the same language, that there is nothing that is impossible unto them. So I ask you in Jesus' name, God, tonight, that you would just help us to get into that one name, that one frame of mind, that one language, that one word that says we're going to stop what's going on now in our White House, and we're going to take back what God has rightfully given us.
I'm offended that we have a Justice Department that ignores the rule of law, refuses to enforce the Constitution, refuses to uphold DOMA, refuses to comply with congressional oversight. I think Congressman Gowdy will be here in a minute. He might talk to you a little bit something you might have read about called Fast and Furious. Isn't that disgusting? Ladies and gentlemen, in the next couple of days, you're going to be hearing about something South Carolina's involved in. I've volunteered you to do something. I volunteered the state of South Carolina to challenge Dodd-Frank in the courts of the United States. South Carolina, we're going to challenge that law, and we're going to take our battle back to Washington, D.C. because community banks on Main Street shouldn't be choked to death so that big banks on Wall Street can take our money. We have got to have a fair, even playing field. We have got to allow the free markets to prevail. We've got to allow capitalism to win and to breed. We've got to free you up to create jobs, to create wealth, to create businesses. And I fundamentally disagree with the President of the United States when he says, you didn't build it.
This country does not belong to the government. It does not belong to politicians. It belongs to you, and you have every right to take it back, and I appreciate you helping us do that. I know you're frustrated like I've been, but for way too long, the Washington establishment, the political bosses, picked our candidates and told us who was going to represent us in our primaries, and then once they got to Washington, they just fell in the fold, split up the money, and all took home the bacon, and they sold our country down the drain. For years, all of us felt helpless that we really couldn't change things. Maybe here in South Carolina, where we're a little smarter than the other states, but all over the country, they seem to keep sending people who just spent money and borrowed money in order to get themselves reelected. But something started to change a few years ago. People decided enough was enough, that they weren't going to take it anymore. A lot of you took to the streets. We all came here once for a big Tea Party rally. And we stopped what had been happening as far as the parties and the establishment running everything in Washington. I was a part of that because I was sick and tired of my own party not keeping their promises in Washington. I went into the Senate with the majority in the Senate, the majority in the House, and George Bush in the White House. And all we did is keep spending money, and we didn't do the things we promised. And we owe Americans more than that. But I decided to do what you're doing. Rock the boat a little bit. Change things. And you know what? My party wanted Arlen Specter to stay in the Senate. But there was a young man named Pat Toomey who I knew would stand for our principles, and I stood with him. And the people of Pennsylvania, the people here in South Carolina and all over the country got behind him through this Senate Conservatives Fund. Folks, this was just a website that I put up and said I'm only going to support true conservative candidates. And I put Pat Toomey on that website, and the dollars started coming in. The average contribution was $45. But before the end of this, we had raised him nearly $1 million. Down in Florida, our party decided they wanted Governor Charlie Crist as the next senator. We found out how loyal he is to our principles. He's speaking at the Democratic convention, for heaven's sakes. But there was a little-known young man that you may have seen lately named Marco Rubio. Marco understands the promise of America, and he can speak passionately about freedom and what it's meant to his family. But he had no chance of winning. The party wouldn't support him. But the people of Florida did. The people of South Carolina did, and before it was all over, they had raised him more than $1 million, and he won that race overwhelmingly and chased Charlie Crist out of the party. Now, Kentucky was a even more rocking the boat because my own Republican leader was supporting someone else in his home state. But the people were looking at a young man named Rand Paul in Kentucky. I was told Rand Paul couldn't win the primary, and if he did, he couldn't win the general. But the people decided differently, and he won overwhelmingly, and he's a real national leader already. Folks, we saw the same thing in Utah with Mike Lee. In Wisconsin, a Republican conservative couldn't possibly win, and Ron Johnson won, and he's a great new leader. What I'm trying to tell you is this country is in your hands. And we've demonstrated it all over the country. And after the 2010 elections, folks were saying, DeMint, the Tea Party's dead. That was just a flash in the pan. But Senator Dick Lugar found out that it was not dead. And we're going to get Richard Murdoch, a strong conservative from Indiana. And in Texas, the establishment picked the lieutenant governor who could self-fund and put millions of his own money in, and no one else really had a chance. Young man, constitutional conservative, Ted Cruz, had 2% in the polls. He had 2% in the polls, but he won the people's hearts. And he won that primary, and he's going to be our next senator. The same's happening in Arizona with Jeff Flake. But folks, we've raised over $10 million already to the Senate Conservatives Fund, this time for those candidates. We invested more than $2 million in Texas to help Ted Cruz overcome incredible odds. But these aren't big donors. The average contribution is still $50 or less. People will send me $10 with a little email, and I'll send a little more after my next paycheck. If you're looking for ways that you can help around the country, you can go to senateconservatives.com, and no gift's too small, none's too large, but there are about 10 candidates on there that could make a difference in the Senate. I believe we've got a good chance to win the majority and remove Harry Reid from the majority. But this time, it's not going to be enough just to have a Republican majority. We're going to have a conservative majority, and we're going to keep our promises. The whole point of this is our country is in your hands. And when you leave here today, I know you're all going to vote. Take someone with you to vote. We know South Carolina is going to go Republican, but we want to do it overwhelmingly. Palmetto Patriots are taking people all over the country. Through Senate Conservatives Fund and Palmetto Patriots, you can be part of phone banks calling for candidates all over the country. You can help change things.
As a North Charleston boy who was raised in a single-parent household, I had a mama. I'm not sure if y'all know these kinds of mamas. My mama believed that love comes at the end of a switch. And my mama loved me a lot. Woo, Lord. And the reason why she loved me so much was because for a lot of my life as a kid, I was flunking out of life. Because I had an excuse. My dad was gone, life wasn't fair, and my mama taught me a very valuable lesson. You make your life fair. You do it. So when I went in business, I built my business. I don't know. Maybe President Obama built a community activist organization. But I built my business. Well, my mama and my mentor taught me to believe in the American dream. They taught me that if you will do it, it will get done. And if you don't do it, don't blame nobody but your own happy self. When I was at the Republican convention, they gave me 120 seconds. Ain't very long. I decided to use my time to sing. So let me sing my favorite song to the President of the United States, President Obama. If he was here, this is a song we would all sing together. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more. So to our president, let's sing it together. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more. God bless you.